Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. Here with me today, I have Justin Smith out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Justin, thank you so much for joining us today, man.
Good. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
For sure, for sure. So the first question is, tell us about what your childhood was like and what you saw, or maybe what you didn't see that shaped your view of building wealth.
My childhood was like I was raised in a two-family household. My father did suffer a stroke by the time I was 8. So I tell people all the time, I really don't remember too much of my childhood prior to me being 8 years old. So my mother really was the breadwinner, the provider for our family. So I look back now, I probably was poor. Didn't really realize it because we always had food in our stomach, always had a roof over our head. So I really didn't realize, that we were probably poor and that my mom was struggling the way she was. And looking back, I remember her, sometimes coming home from work, long days at work, stressed out. But she's a praying woman, believes in God, that, it would always make a way. God would always provide. So that's some of the things I remember as a childhood. And I was like one of the first to, go to college in my household with my immediate family, go to college and get that degree. So that was like a big accomplishment going through education, right? And going through college. In high school, I really didn't take it seriously at all. But I'm pretty competitive. So when it was funny, I started seeing people graduate in like 2002, and I'm still, working like a part-time job at a hospital. I was like, man, it has to be something better, right? Because it was so funny. I used to think, if I made, let's say, $500 a week, that would be enough. That's because, yeah, it's funny. I used to want to do like be a computer programmer or something, right? So I figured it out. Like, man, if I can just make $500 a week, and this is thinking as I'm 17, 18 years old, early on in my life, that if I just make $500 a week, I can have a great life. That's enough to my little car note. I can pay rent. I've made it, right? And obviously, as you grow older and you learn about taxes and the government taking their 25, 30%, your mentality starts to change, right? And I wasn't really exposed early on, probably from 18 to 23. I wasn't really exposed to the principles of really building wealth, passive income, residual income, because my parents didn't know that. All they knew was work, work 9 to 5, come home, take care of family, and you retire at the age of 65. That's all we were ever taught, that you had to work 40, 50 years of your life and then retire and then relax when you're 65, 70 years old. So that's what I was doing, right? So fast forward, I eventually went to community college, a state school, because I was always conscious of the student loan debt, right? I was always conscious of that, especially seeing my mother provide. So I had to, she helped me with college a little bit, the most she could, but I did take on some student loans. But, community college was a big savings for me, man. I did 2 years there, then transferred to a state school. So I didn't really want to be a financial hardship on my family or even myself in that matter, right? So then it was interesting because I met a young lady in community college, and her uncle worked for, I was dating a young lady in community college, and her uncle, his name was Craig, worked for a big pharma company. So we built a relationship. He used to take me to the Eagles games, and we used to sit in a skybox, do all those things. And Craig had the biggest house I've ever seen. Mind you, I'm poor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I see this, he's a black man living a good life, right? And he was showing me the finer things in life, right? Craig was actually the first one who exposed me to the stock market. I pulled up to Craig's house. I used to have rims and jewelry and watches, making my $500 a week. I was very materialistic, right? So I pulled up to Craig. I remember one time, I pull up, to pick up his niece.
Mm-hmm.
I was dating, and I just got my new rims, my nice new car, right? So I was feeling good, right? Real flashy. So I pull up, and he pulls me. I go in the house, and he pulls me, sits me down. He said, "Oh man, nice car. How much those rims cost?" Push my chest out. I'm like, yeah, those rims cost like $3,000. Mind you, I put it on my credit card. I'm making $500 a week, right?
Yeah.
90% probably $500 a week. So I'm supposed to, feeling myself. $3,000 for those rims. He was like, man, let me show you something. So he started showing me about the stock market, right? He started showing me about the stock market. Like, hey, if you buy this 3,000, could have gave you X amount of shares. You could have had this. If it increased this, you'd have made this. And he was telling me this, but it's honestly going in one ear and out the other a little bit, because I'm still, I'm like 20 years old, right? So I'm like, yeah, this he don't know nothing. He knows something. I was listening a little bit because the way he was living, but a lot of times young people, we tell the older people tell us stuff, and we don't take it and then take action and apply it, right? You can have a bunch of information, but if you don't ever apply it, it's useless. Right? So I didn't apply that at all. I just took it in, heard it. But that was probably my first exposure to how people build wealth, was the stock market, right? And then obviously we keep building our relationship. And then later on, probably like a year later, I came across an article of this young kid. He was like a wizard in the stock market, like 20 years old or something. He's making all this money. So that intrigued me. So I put two and two together, right? What Craig had told me that year prior, and this article, and then I started investing in the stock market a little bit, made money in the stock market. I was invested in the stock market when I went away to college. At IUP, I was doing that like day trading a little bit of money I had. So I thought I was doing good. I was making a lot of money. I was buying shares of Google at the time, et cetera, right? So that was starting to begin the exposure of, wow, there's other ways to make money outside of working a clock. Here I'm making thousands of dollars doing a couple of trades of stocks, right? When Google's IPO came out back in, I think it was like 2004 or something. No, a long time ago, like 2000 maybe. Google's IPO, like everybody made money like that, right? Just pushing trades, type it on your computer, right? So I was like, wow, my mind started to change. So fast forward, I end up graduating from Indiana University College. I called Craig up, say, hey, Craig, I'm ready, right? You promised me that job. Because he had a high position in the company. You promised me that job. I'm ready to get started, right? So he said, Justin, we have a hiring freeze. They're not hiring nobody. So I'm like, okay. I was like, how long do these hiring freezes last? He said, no telling, but maybe hopefully 30 days or so. Just follow back up with me in, next month. So of course, me, boom, call him again. Hey, that hiring freeze lifted. Hey, not yet, Justin. Bang, follow up again, month 3. I'm waiting. I'm working odd jobs at temp jobs just to put money in my pocket. But I didn't go to school for probably like 6 years of my life, because I went part-time, right? To just be working at temp jobs. So I kept following up. So it was pretty disappointing, man. I remember being pretty depressed in my room because I don't, bust my behind all this time to get this degree. And then it's no job, right? So we're always taught, mind you, we're always taught, you go to school, you get that good job. You go to school, get that degree, right? Yep. Right? To get that good high-paying job, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody never tells you some of those jobs may not expect to make $100,000, might only be $40,000. So now you have this student debt, and you have no job or a low-paying job. In my case, it was no job, right? So So I started to, I joined, so what I did, I ended up joining a network marketing company called Prepaid Legal. And this was almost phase 2 of my mind shift. Phase 1 was the introduction to the stock market. Phase 2 was introduction to network marketing. And those are companies, you hear them, Prepaid Legal, the Amways, the home-based businesses, right? So I made some money there, but the most, when I look back, the true value of those businesses, right, were my mind. My mind started changing, man. They introduced me to the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, which is the tale of two fathers, one rich, one poor, right? I don't know, whoever, people have not read that book, read that book, right? So a little bit back about that story, the rich dad was an investor, real estate investor, stock market investor, right? The poor dad was a highly educated professional, but he was still poor, right? The poor dad had no assets, right? The poor dad was on track to work until he was 65, 70 years old to live the, quote, good life. So when I was reading that book and I'm comparing, I'm pretty, I think I'm pretty smart, right? So when I'm reading that book and I'm like, man, I want to have the good life in my 30s, maybe 40s, not when I'm 60, 70.
Right.
It's a lot more fun to drive that nice car or to travel when you're young and nimble, right? Rather than when you're old and fragile, right? So I just started just thinking, bro, like, yo, it's gotta be another way. So, around my neighborhood, I'm probably known as hustle man, because once I got that, I was on a mission to create passive residual type of income. Yeah, man, at those home-based seminars, you get those guys with the suits and ties. Oh, they're talking about how they make it $50,000, $60,000 a month. I'm like, damn, like how are some people make that type of money, and then some people can make that type of money, or not even that, per year, right?
Right.
Everybody still has the same 24 hours in a day. It's dependent on, it's about what you do with your time. So
for sure.
Yeah, man. So, I'll stop there. So hopefully that answered that first question.
That did.
But yeah,
that answered it in great detail, man. I appreciate that breakdown. It's cool to hear kind of the evolution of your mindset through those different experiences, which leads perfectly into the next question. So from all those experiences, why did you decide to pursue real estate as your path to building wealth?
Yeah, definitely. So real estate wasn't the first channel, right? When I had a prior to real estate, I had failed business ventures, quite a few. Again, man, I was never scared to try. But two that I'm gonna talk about that failed prior to me really taking real estate seriously was one, a business called Frugal Deal. This was a business similar to Groupon, except my key differentiator was I would do the deals on a weekly basis, and I was giving my customers, my business customers, more visibility on my website at a cheaper price, right? So I thought that was gonna be my ticket, man. Back in 2010, I had that business going. 2009, 2010, right? I had markets open up in New York, Florida. I had someone who wanted to open up a business in Nigeria. I got flown out there to Lagos, Nigeria to do a presentation. So I was feeling good. I raised capital from investors. I had, in the day that I had a launch party in New York, my business, the website crashed. So I had all these sales. Basically, I didn't have the right infrastructure. In hindsight, I didn't know what I was doing. I had a great idea, but the engine wasn't strong enough. They handled the volume of the sales that were coming in. Mm-hmm. My email servers were bad. My mailing list, it was just a disaster waiting to happen, right? And it just happened the day of my launch party. I had press coming and all that, because it was getting a lot of buzz, right? It was getting a lot of buzz, right? Because it was new back then. Yeah, so I had to hold my head high, go to New York, smile, do the giveaways, and I had to pay back thousands of dollars to customers and businesses, right? Because their money was being held. The PayPal system I was using never released that money. So
Wow.
I grew in some relationships. I lost a lot of money, man. A lot of money. People that were with me lost a lot of money. It was really, you're talking about being depressed. I had left my job too, right? Because at the time, in 2011, I actually got fired. I didn't leave. I got fired because I wasn't producing, because my focus was really on growing Frugal Deal at the time, right? So I was, we do my business when I wasn't supposed to. So end up getting fired. So here I am, fired, no business, no job, right? So I basically pivoted to partner with this programmer to launch an online ordering business, right, called Express Menus. Basically, that was similar to Grubhub. Express Menus, that business, I would provide online ordering service, make the business their own website, their own online ordering platform, et cetera, right? Fast forward, that business was going good for about, I would say about 2 years, right? I'm getting business, boom, 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 boom. Here comes Grubhub. Here comes Seamless. Here comes all these other online ordering platforms with just more advertising dollars, more sales reps, right? And just start taking business. So my residual, I had the residual on that, because mind you, my mind was the residual. I had my residual go from probably about $7,000 a month, automatically a month. So I would charge $55 a month. And I would also charge for a setup fee. So my setup fee on like $350 to $500. So I was getting money with that and also charging that monthly residual. So I was getting about, on average, $7,000 a month, and I also was getting the setup fees. So I was doing okay, right? All that, boom, start tanking, start losing clients left and right, left and right, left and right. So I seen the writing on the wall with that business. So I was like, man, Justin, you got to do two things. Are you going to go back and get a job, or are you going to give this real estate thing a shot? You see, I was truly first introduced to real estate in probably about 2009 when I did my first wholesale deal. It's an assignment deal where I made about $13,000.
Yep.
Right? Had a property under contract for 97, flipped it for 110. However, remember in 2009, the mortgage industry took a crash, right?
Yep.
Hence me doing all these other businesses from 2009 to 2000, about 12, 13, right?
Right.
My cash buyers weren't cash buyers. The economy was bad back in 2009, right? So that was my first little exposure to real estate. Like, I was like, man, you can make this amount of money just flipping a piece of paper, right? So I basically went back to what I knew did work, because I did it one time, but I wasn't consistent. I got discouraged. I'm sending out mailers and I'm not getting no more wholesale deals. So I called a gentleman up. Fast forwarding back, to 2013. I called a gentleman up by the name of Mr. Ron. He's an older gentleman that I knew did real estate. I didn't know what level he did, but I knew he was buying properties, right? Because it was interesting. One thing that actually made me call him, I remember him losing his job. He was in the healthcare field. I think he did like a traveling type of nurse, right? He lost his job, and this man goes out and buys a drop top Jaguar. And I was like, yo, you lost your job. Like, how can you do that? And something very key he said to me is like, this nursing money was just basically extra money. Like, his lifestyle depended on all his rental properties that he had. And I'm like, damn. Remember, passive residual income. What other way to build passive residual income than real estate? So we go for a ride. I call him up. We go for a ride. I'm like, listen, I want to invest in real estate. I'm serious. He's like, you serious? Don't waste my time. Are you serious? I was like, yes, I'm serious. He didn't know I was on my last dime. I was desperate as hell. I just lost God knows how much money. And I'm either I go back to the job or, mind you, I've been out of work for 2 years at this point. I ain't trying to go back, right? So I just spent my last little bit of money. We go to Philadelphia. He took me around to like a few properties. The first two was a no-go. The third one was, I guess, like a cosmetic rehab. You know,
Yeah.
paint, update the kitchen, cosmetic rehab. So we got that one. Again, I didn't have enough money to do the whole purchase and renovation. So I ended up partnering with my buddy Earl. He's another ambitious guy around the way. So we got this property for $22,000. I think we put in like another $27,000 into it. Long story short, we profited after realtor fees, expenses, seller's commission. We profited $34,000. We split that two ways: 17 for him, 17 for me, right?
Yep.
So we got our initial principal investment back, right? And 17,000. Man, brother, rest is history.
Wow.
Rest is history, right? So from that point on, I made that money. So then I found a deal, a duplex I got for $12,000. Had another flip going. So I was simultaneously doing flips and renovations, at the same time. I was leveraging private capital at the time to do those deals.
Got it. So sounds like so it's a very interesting theme I'm picking up here as we kind of get into the real estate side of things. One, you're definitely a serial entrepreneur, and I think the seed that was planted in you early just to find that, passive income, that residual income. You just kept trying different things, and you weren't afraid to start over and try the next thing. And it seems like that all puts you on the path to real estate. So I think that's very powerful. That you just continue to try different things until something worked. So I think that's very, very, it's very good. So where did it go from like flipping? How did things develop from there?
Yeah. So when I I needed money to flip. So it's funny, man. Some of the things I used to do when I look back in 2013, that was honestly embarrassed to talk about then. I can talk about now that I don't gotta do that no more. I used to rent out my house via Air Bnb. My friends thought I was crazy. Hell, they thought I was crazy. Like, you gonna let strangers live in your house? And I was dating at the time, right? I was single. I wasn't married, and I was dating. So I was stay with my girlfriends. Stay with my girlfriends. They knew what I was doing. So I would stay with them, rent out my house, and I was dating someone out of state at the time. So it just made sense to me. Like, listen, I'm paying this mortgage. Why not Airbnb it? And why I'm away for a week or 2 weeks, whatever the case may be, right? So I would couch surf. I would, rent out my house. And again, that passive income, right? Here I am, I already have this asset, right? Which is truly a liability, because it's only a true asset if it's producing income. One house alone is not a asset; it's a liability. The game is multiple houses, right? That produce income. That's a true asset. So that Airbnb, that saved me, man, back then. So I was on average making about $1,000 doing Airbnb from the rental standpoint. So when I start flipping, I was always remember about that cash flow, right? When you flip and you sell, you still got to pay capital gains tax. So if you're selling within a year, you're paying that 25% capital gains tax.
Wow.
Right. So versus rental income, you're still getting that cash flow. You still have that equity. And if you want to tap into that equity, all you do is refi, and it's no capital gains tax.
Right.
Wouldn't you rather have your whole 50 than 35,000? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's a no-brainer.
It's no-brainer. And the cash flow.
Right.
And you get to take advantage of the appreciation.
Yep.
So that house that might be worth 80,000 now, right? 6 years later, is worth 150.
Right.
So it just made sense to me. And remember, my mentor, Mr. Ron, I seen what he did. This guy loses a $100,000 job and it doesn't faze him.
Right.
So I always looked at having multiple streams of income, right?
Yep.
So, man, I mean that's the transition. Like,
absolutely.
You know, flipping can be good, but I think real estate is meant to be held, right? Because if you have, let's say 50 properties, right, paying you, $1,000 a month, or hell, even if you want to say $500 a month, 50 properties, $500 a month, that's $25,000 a month, and you could be on the beach somewhere.
Right.
That's the game.
Definitely.
That's the game, man. So that's what spearheaded that transition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what did it look like going from flipping to buying and holding?
What did it look like?
Yeah. So what was like your first buy and hold deal? What did that look like?
It was a duplex, and it was a duplex that I got for $12,000. It was interesting. My wife, who is now, we were dating at the time, and mind you, I was broke then. So I go to her and I was like, "Hey, I got this deal. It's $12,000. Like, do you want to go in?" So she said, "Yeah, I want in. And then it go time to sign the deal, And again, she never did real estate, so she was a little nervous, and rightfully so, right? And she must have, what she probably did was go back to her family and friends, right, and say, "Oh, the guy I'm dating," because we were only probably like 3 weeks in, right?
You're bold.
And he wants me to go half with him. And of course, their mom and friends are probably like, "What? You crazy? Girl, you been holding on to your money, blah, blah, blah." So she basically backed out on me, right?
Yeah.
She backed out on me on that deal. So I ended up doing that whole deal myself, because look, it was $12,000 deal. This property's worth like $180,000 right now. I did that deal all cash. I used some of the profits from the flips I were doing, right? And did rehab 1 unit at a time in that duplex. So I got that duplex for it was like for 12, I think I might have put between 45, 50,000 into it for the renovations, right? I know I was all in probably like 52,000 all in, right? On that yeah, about 52. So I did that all cash because I wasn't really conscious of hard money loans back then, man. And I had my private capital investors, but I'm leveraging them on the flips, not on the buy and holds, right? I'm just putting that money, flipping it back into my duplex. So that duplex, man, gives us, $1,700. And I mean, we had great tenants, and I mean, was one of our first rental properties. And to this day, we have grown that portfolio.
For sure. So I know back then, your girlfriend at the time and now wife, she kind of backed out. But what does she think of everything now? What's her perspective now?
Now my wife is a beast.
Yeah.
Listen, she has been so instrumental in helping to build this massive portfolio.
Yeah.
Her first property, not only does she put her some of her time, but also her capital, right?
Right.
So my wife, she works, has a job. I work, have a business in terms of I'm a GC. So how we do it right now is most of our rental portfolio is debt free. So basically 30% of our portfolio has mortgages, 70% free and clear, 30% have mortgages. And the way we were able to do that is leveraging our biggest investor, our business, and our job. Right? Again, my wife has a good job. She makes this money, and she invests to help buy our first properties cash, right? And then, our method is we buy one free and clear, and sometimes, depending on the equity we have in it, we may do a refi and then buy 2 straight cash, no mortgages.
Right.
Doing that is about a 33% ratio.
Right.
Right? You buy one, 2 free and clear. Buy one, straight cash, 2 and free and clear. Bang. That's how we've been growing this thing, man. And again, we use our jobs as our to spearhead these investments. Yeah, I would not be able to grow this portfolio without having a spouse, someone like my wife, on board that has bought in, right? And I tell people all the time, you get that first passive income check, you know, and she got her first taste. Now she like, what are we doing now? She want to buy more. I'm like, yo, we okay. She like, now she want to keep going because it goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, nonstop, man. And it's great satisfaction. Another thing that about my wife, she loves helping people, right? So when we're able to, it's funny, man. When I first started to rehab, I would, you know, I'm pretty cheap. Hey, I had a business called Frugal Deal. right. So listen, I had a business called Frugal Deal. So listen, I'm cheap, all right? So when I first started with my renovations, man, you know, I wasn't doing whole gut outs, right? I would, you know, leave the old doors. I was leaving the old trim, leave the old baseboards. You see what I'm saying? And I'm thinking like, man, it's a cosmetic rehab. I'm just gonna put some paint. I'm leaving the kitchen, the bath. I'm leaving everything, right? My earlier rehabs, right? So she come along and, you know, she got a different eye, and she makes me do better quality work, right? So now the people, when I say we were ever homeless, we will always have good quality to go into. That, you know, that's coming from my wife to you know, help me put out a better product and push me to put out a better product. So not only is she instrumental again with putting up her capital, but also, you know, helping me, giving me feedback on, hey, you should gut this kitchen out, or you should do this to make a good quality living for people.
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
Because good housing living conditions, that breeds a good environment for the tenants, man. You know, these tenants have kids and families, you know, so we like to give them a good quality product.
For sure. Where does the portfolio stand now? About how many units are y'all at these days?
Yeah, I would say people ask me that question. You know, I need more. You know, it's a good amount though.
I feel you. Yeah. So you had a post that went viral the last week actually, and I saw it. I forgot what page I saw it on, but I reposted it on my page, and I got like probably 1,300 likes, and I'm like, I got to get this guy on the podcast. And you know, the headline was. Brother buys 9 properties for his daughter before age 2. So can you talk more about that and just building that legacy for her?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So when my daughter's not 2 yet, she'll be 2 in May. Mm-hmm. Wow, time is flying.
It grows so fast, huh?
Yeah, it's fine, man. So when we had her in 2018, we thought like, man, wouldn't it be nice? Because at that point, you know, we achieved financial freedom, right? Mm-hmm. So everything else after that is icing on the cake, right? So let's set our daughter up for wealth, right? So what we did, we opened up a LLC, you know, basically in her name, and also are earmarking each property, you know. So each of the properties that we are purchasing, you know, under her LLC, we're earmarking for her. Hence, you know, father buys 9 properties. So between the period from the time that she was born to now, you know, those, you know, those 9 properties in her name, in her business name, are going to be for her, and they're all earmarked under her name.
Wow, that's so powerful. I mean, that's so powerful. I don't think I've ever heard of something like that in our community, but I think it's amazing because, you know, usually we hear about the 529 for college savings or setting up this account or that account, but to have like properties and cash flow waiting for child for when she gets older, I mean, I think that's incredible. Yeah. How did y'all determine that that's what you wanted to do as opposed to maybe some of the more traditional routes?
Well, listen, here's the thing. If she doesn't want to have this empire, this is going to be us. Like, you know, so, but we're going to expose her and start her at a young age about the assets versus liabilities, and have these shorties, start showing these houses. These are assets. These produce X amount of dollars, right? Because if people and our children are taught at a young age that you don't always have to trade time for dollars, right? We'll probably have a lot more people investing. And I tell people all the time, you don't have to do real estate investing full time. I do this full time because I'm passionate about it. It's not work for me. I can do this all day. It's nothing for me, right? It's nothing. It's almost like an addiction almost.
Yeah.
And it's not even about the money anymore. I really get a high off turning an ugly house that looks like crap into something that is beautiful for people, providing great living conditions for people. And I invest in urban communities, and me and my wife, we want to provide good housing for people that may look like us, right? Like good housing. Like, it's like, you see some of these rehabs, people say to me all the time, like, man, you doing all that in this area? You doing all that in this area? Yeah, I'm doing all that in this area. Yep. That's one, our way of giving back. And two is just doing right by people, man. And, we have very low tenant turnover. I did a post today that, probably we were just thinking about this. Since we've been building this portfolio, we've had 2 people move out. And that's one amazing. Relocated out of state. They don't want to move out on their own. They're relocating. Yeah. And no evictions.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean,
like,
I love that. I really love that you focus on investing in urban communities and making sure they have good housing, because as as we all know, there's a lot of slumlords out there, right? And people who just throw something together and think that, people who are working class people or just trying to get by don't want or don't deserve good quality housing. But I mean, it works. You haven't had many evictions, tenants stay there, they're happy. And I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, man. I have a hashtag called Death to Slumlords. I've been going with that for the past 6 years, Death to Slumlords, since I ever started. Death to Slumlords, man. Because, I mean, it's crazy, man. Like, real estate investors, we can make a good amount of money in this profession, and then you have landlords that still give horrible products. Yeah, that's just you don't do people like that, man. So I'm pretty passionate about that.
For sure. So can you talk more about becoming a GC and why you decided to take that on?
Yeah, absolutely. So remember I said back in 2013, I was doing that first flip, and I was dating someone that was in a different state, right? Yeah. So I hired a friend that I knew that was a GC, and a project. No one I knew now, a project that probably should have took 4 weeks. He took 3 months on it.
Yeah.
Like I'm a GC now, and I literally can get through 4 or 5 rehabs in 10 weeks. Right. This guy has a cosmetic rehab that took in almost 3 months, right? So when I used to come back from New York to check on the progress of the property, I used to just see no guys there working, or if they were, the GC who I hired, he was just sitting there with his arms crossed. There was nothing really going on.
Right.
So, and he probably knew, he probably did this, slow rolled my project. He was probably working on other projects. He was, hey, this guy is not out of state. I could tell him anything. I'm a new investor at the time, right? Probably took advantage. I probably overpaid, took longer. So again, I'm a smart guy. I used to see what he was doing. He wasn't doing any work. He was just managing people. Mm-hmm. And I said to self, you can do that. If you open up these other businesses, you can open up a construction company. So I've been with the same group of guys. I built my construction team, referrals, visiting job sites, blah, 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 right? And I had built my construction team. I got the loyalty, and same crew since 2014, man. Wow. And again, I like to say I almost have a dream job. Like, I love doing rehabs. So not only I can do rehabs for other people, I can also keep doing rehabs for myself. So it's a dream. It's a blessing, man.
I love it.
That's what made me start a construction company. Me being burned, being overpaid, long timelines, and just unprofessional contractors made me become a GC. And and I tell people, my clients all the time, I'm not your average general contractor by any means.
Yeah.
I'm very experienced. I come from a white collar, type of corporate job, but now I'm in a blue collar industry. So,
right.
Yeah. So it's just my clients, it's just a different experience when they work with me.
For sure. I love it. I mean, it's the consistent theme that I'm really seeing throughout this whole conversation is that you turn every experience into another opportunity. So whether it's good, whether it's bad, you figured out throughout your lifetime what you can learn from it and how you can use it to grow yourself, to grow your business. So, you have bad contractors, you're like, all right, I'll do it myself. I'll become a GC and I'll become better than what I've experienced. So I think that's very cool. Definitely, man.
You can't ever stop learning in life, man. You gotta always keep learning. There's always people, I don't know it all. Like it's people in this world of real estate, I'm still a small fish.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing about what I tell people, you could be a small fish and make millions.
Right.
Small fish and make millions.
Definitely. Definitely. So what does the future look like? What do you hope to do? Do you have any other entrepreneurial ventures and where do you hope to take the your business?
Yeah, man. So what I'm doing now, I'm going to keep building my portfolio for, our family. I'm never going to stop with that. But I'm also going to be doing more. I'm launching a company called Day with Jay, right? So daywithjay.com, which basically is going to be a coaching platform where I can help the masses learn what traditional education never taught us, right? So that's what I'm going to be doing. That's my next goal. Again, it's daywithjay.com. People can find out more. It's going to be coming soon. I'm doing little tweaks during this quarantine, but that's the next thing, man. Trying to find out ways where I can help more people learn what college and school damn sure ain't gonna teach us.
For sure.
So I mean, that's the next thing on my plate. Yeah.
Definitely. And of course, you've learned so many lessons throughout your business journey as an entrepreneur, as a real estate investor, and of course, a lot of people are interested in becoming real estate investors and getting into real estate. What would be some tips that you would share with someone who wants to get started, but maybe they don't know where to start, or maybe they're just, kind of scared and nervous and they're like, oh, what if I lose everything? What would you say to somebody like that?
Yeah. So when I'm asked that question, I take people back to almost how I started, right? And how I started was, one, you want to evaluate your current financial situation. Okay, that's what I did. I evaluate my financial situation, right? What I mean by that is, if you have, let's say you have $5,000 a month coming in, as a household income, with $60,000 a year, how can you reduce your expenses? Right? And I tell people all the time, you might just have to sacrifice temporarily to change your life forever. Can that $60,000 lifestyle go to 40, go to 35? Get what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's one, right? Two, find ways to, now you reduce your lifestyle, right? Now, can you find a way to make money? Whether you're doing side jobs temporarily, right? Because you need some type of capital, right, to get started in real estate, right?
Yep.
Even if you're doing wholesaling, you need some type of capital to do marketing to find those deals, right? That's the real, okay? So that's two. Find ways to make more money, whether it was Uber and doing notary, whatever the case. I did all types of hustles, to try to increase money, reduce my expenses, make money. That's the second thing I did. Three, make sure if your credit is bad, start working on your credit, because you're going to need an exit strategy, right? You don't want to buy these properties and get stuck, have all your cash tied up all the time and not being able to refi back out. So three is credit. People can improve their credit. Far too often I meet people that just, they got bad credit and don't even try to improve it. And they go year after year after year with bad credit. You have to leverage occasionally, you have to leverage OPM, other people's money, right? 4 is start to educate yourself. Get a mentor. It's crazy how many people I come across that don't want to pay for mentorship. Hell, go to YouTube. Go somewhere. Start educating yourself. You don't jump into this thing blind. Even I had a mentor, when I first started, because one bad move in this game can set you back for years. It can take you 3, 4, 5 years. One good move can catapult you, right?
Yep.
So it's amazing how I meet people that have, and I think the college system, they are the best marketers ever, because they got people writing essays and all type of things, begging to spend their 40, 50,000 to get in these universities. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And they're hammering kids with these high tuitions with no guarantees for a job. Meanwhile, you have people that are truly experts, in this real estate stuff. I consider myself an expert in this field at this point, that can help you change not only your life, but your family's life for generations. That's the game, man. And that's it. So if you're a new person, you're looking to get started, identify someone that is actively doing and living what they're teaching. And the great thing about social media, Samuel, it leaves receipts. It leaves receipts. If you make sure your mentor is active, and that's one of the things I try to keep posting on social media. And I've been posting since 2013. You're talking to me right now, 2020, but brother, I've been saying the same thing, preaching the same gospel since 2013.
For sure. And where can people find you if they want to learn more about what you're doing, connect with you? Where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram at JES Capital, CAPITAL Investments. So you can find me on Instagram there. Also, again, with that real estate course and life course that I want to be launching, is Day with J. So it's Day with is WITJJAY.com. daywithj.com. So you can find me there.
For sure. We'll have that in the show notes. And yeah, as soon as things launch, let me know. We'll definitely push that out to our audience, get as much visibility for that as possible. But man, I'm pumped up right now. That's a very, very inspiring interview, just to see where you came from, and just how much resilience you had, with every redirection, everything that didn't work out. It just pushed you to the next step, ultimately to where you are now and where you're growing and where your family's going in the future. So I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Okay, I appreciate you, man.
For sure. Everyone, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Black Real Estate Dialogue, and also on Twitter at Bread Podcasts, at BRED Podcasts. Look forward to talking to you all soon.